So here at JavaOne in the press room, where there is an aura of peace and calm and a hush, and I'm with Jonathan Eunice from Illuminata, made famous by the recent Dan Brown films, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Made
yes.
that famous. Okay.
Yes, yes. So, always interested to hear your views about JavaOne and about the technologies that you're seeing around here. What's your assessment this year?
Well, I saw a pretty substantial uptick in JavaFX. So it's been a very speculative technology, and there are a lot of competitors in this market, from Ajax to Silverlight to Adobe. I mean, they're just chock-a-block with competitors. So I saw a lot of actual tooling coming up, not really in people's hands yet, but at least coming up, and people talking very positively about developing for it. So Sony Ericsson, Oracle. So a nice uptick there.
Right. So do you think it's in with a real chance against Flash and Silverlight?
Well, I think in this industry, your expectations and your willingness to invest make your opportunity. So if people believe it will happen, if the key players, people that will own it, Oracle, the people that will build phones and so on, are willing to build it in, then yes, I think that momentum becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And if there was, what one thing would you say JavaFX is not doing at the moment that it should do to succeed?
Get in people's hands. Get the tooling in people's hands, get the componentry in people's hands. It's just still early days in terms of being able to get access to it.
Right.
Creating a declarative language is it's a nice way to go for specifying animation, but it's hard, and you need tooling to make that relevant, make that choice relevant, in my opinion.
What do you think of the Java Store?
The Java Store is a great idea. It needs a checkout. A store without a checkout is not much of a store.
Right.
But obviously a smart concept. And you can see stores, whether it's iTunes or Amazon or what have you, popping up all over, because this whole historical process of I'll buy the package, I'll install the package, I mean, that just doesn't work in a fast-moving world. The cost to implement that's just too high for the consumer.
Now, the one angle that I'm noticing there is that Orange has got their app store downstairs.
Yes.
Sony Ericsson announced their app store in the keynote this morning.
Yes.
It seems to me that there's far too many places that are different from each other that I have to target to, and that the market is too fragmented to make money in. Do you think that's a problem?
I don't think the market is too fragmented to make money in. There are too many stores. So it's classic early days. There are going to be a lot of people deciding, hey, let's have a store. And, all of the carriers will have their own stores. They do now. So, but there are millions, billions of possible consumers.
Right.
So I don't think that the world, if you look at look at the retail experience, there are millions of stores in the world. That doesn't, it makes it a little more confusing. Over time there tends to be consolidation, but it doesn't mean that there's a problem with too many stores, especially in these early days.
So on the complete other planet, there was the announcement about Java E6 being available. What's your views on that?
So Java Enterprise used to be the realm of the super rocket scientist. It was hard. Everything was hard about it. And it was for only the most sophisticated requirements. I've been very impressed over the last couple of years with the simplification. I think that's the key that I see, is that you actually see web apps sometimes built in Java EE. You see simple cases that never would have gone to a Java Enterprise class solution being considered for that. So the simplification is not only from a programmer productivity point of view, but just the whole accessibility of the platform much improved. So I think that getting into people's hands, getting it simplified, that's a democratizing move for enterprise Java.
And then in the technical keynote yesterday, one of the big segments was a discussion of Java 7 features.
Yes.
How's your feeling about that? Are the right things happening there? Are there any issues?
Oh, all of the things, modularity, simplification, making, one of the things that excites me the most is this idea of making small changes, making small improvements. There have been a number of things about Java that you could look at and say, well, it's just sugar, it's just syntax. But the complexity of a program is determined by how many words you have to write to express your idea.
Right.
So this idea of making what in the compiler community calls peephole optimizations. Just look at this a little bit, fix this a little bit, look at this a little bit, fix this a little bit. To me, that can have great impact into people's ability to use the language and their comfort with it and their desire for it.
Right.
So it's a part of the experience from the developer point of view.
So you're
excited about that.
generally pretty positive about where JDK 7 is going.
Very positive about that. I think for the last 2 releases, there's been a real uptick. There was a period of a couple of years where we were working on very boiler room components.
Right.
Let's get the performance adequate. Let's get the compiler, the hotspot evolution. Let's get the load times better. These were very getting up to par level type of deals. The last couple of releases have been about, I think, fairly systematic improvements, so that you can actually see from a feature point of view, from a usability point of view, from a deployability point of view. Each release has, I would say, impactful changes. Right. Whereas before they were kind of, yes, they had an impact, but they were so down in the boiler room. Right. Now you can actually perceive those improvements each release.
Now, I've noticed several times this week something I've not seen at JavaOne before, really, is Sun announcing Eclipse plugins and Sun announcing features based on OSGI. Do you think we've seen we're beginning to see the end of political hostilities here?
Well, the world's getting a little smaller. I've seen with OpenOffice or Java or various standards. People realize they have to work together. No one wants the coming again of the Unix wars and the standards wars that we fought in the 90s. And I think I've seen over the last probably this 3 or 4 years more of a work together. I mean, the large corporations in the space, Microsoft, SAP, IBM, Sun, Oracle, et cetera, they're all out to make money, and they are competing in a lot of ways. But if you're going to get integration, if you're going to get interoperability, if you're going to get the customer's data center, the pieces working together, you can't have the raw diversity, the gratuitous incompatibilities. And I think the whole industry has gotten wise to that. They've gotten mature about eliminating at least the gratuitous incompatibilities. And so things like OGSI, settling on a common approach. There's a lot of coming together in the enterprise Java space around annotations, or around how should we simplify, what are the models to simplify enterprise Java. There are dozens of examples you could point to, but that's a very positive trend.
So finally, we had the surprise walk-on from Larry Ellison on Tuesday morning. What was your take on him being here and what he said?
Good. I think he spoke very enthusiastically about Java, JavaFX, OpenOffice. I think he is fairly limited by SEC rules and by he doesn't want to go to jail, like most of us don't want to go to jail. But he spoke very enthusiastically, I think, about the Java franchise, and he's just spent a lot of money for the Java franchise. Spoke very enthusiastically about building up JavaFX and OpenOffice and so on. So I thought that was, not a lot of details, but a lot of enthusiasm for continuing, extending, investing.
Right.
I thought that was very positive.
Awesome. Well, Jonathan, thank you very much indeed for your views, and enjoy the rest of JavaOne.
Thank you, Simon.